Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the situation report or the summary for the day of 793 for the 26th of April. And this SITREP is brought to you by DPA Open Mic. We're going to have Open Mic probably later. So do check it out, DPA Open Mic. And that's where you can actually, share your voice, share your opinion, and then we can just chit chat and geek it out about geopolitics, politics, military, and war. And so for those that are interested in this mapping, as usual, check the description. The link is there to access this mapping at the defensepoliticsasia.com/Ukraine. And we're going to start off with one frontline changes report, because the majority of the frontline changes has been reported, but we have a new one based on a geolocation over at Krasnohorivka, over at the Donetsk Front. At the Battle of Krasnohorivka, there is a new geolocation. Russian forces are assaulting into the northern part of Krasnohorivka. So over here, and this is basically going towards this is still in the central part of Krasnohorivka, but it's actually leaning more towards the eastern part. And Russian forces, with this attack, we can confirm this presence in this area here. Whether the Ukrainians are able to defend and hold this position remains to be seen, because this is a very, very new information. I have no idea. But it's starting to look very very sharp over here. Anyway, this is the frontline changes report. We go on to the strategic and tactical reporting, and first thing first is there something? There's a Russian strike on the Balakliya railway station. We haven't talked about Balakliya since the Ukrainian Balakliya offensive that has pushed the Russians out of the Kharkiv Front. And this strike is reported by the Russian Defense Ministry. They say that they hit the military personnel and equipments of the 67 Mechanized Brigade at the railway loading station near Balakliya. So I'm not sure exactly the specific location is, but this is Balakliya. So this is a strike over here, over at the railway station. And that's about it for the missile strikes over at the Kherson Front. At the Kherson Front, we still have fighting reported at Kreminna, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. And this is starting to look like a one-sided love affair, you see. Give me a minute, a phone call. Oops, sorry, phone call. So I don't know where I spoke to. So this is a one-sided love affair, right? Yes. And then it's like, the Ukrainians keep saying, no, fighting at Kreminna, but the Russians just did not return the love. No one cares about Kreminna. No one reports about it. Only the Ukrainian Defense Ministry reports on it. So it is what it is. And there is strikes being geolocated over at Svatove. There is a strike on the UAV center, and then there is a helicopter strike, a guided missile strike at Avdiivka, and then there is actually another Russian airstrike over at Kamyanka. So there is this strike here, and here. So this is the ongoing story of the sad story, the tragedy of Kherson Front, the cursed son of Ukraine. Anyway, over the Russian Defense Ministry reported the shelling over at Respublikanets. Oh my goodness. And Shivony Mayak. So they basically reported shelling over these two locations. Again, this is one of those locations where the river is actually very thin, and the Ukrainian forces potentially can attack into this area over here. Oh my god, why does it look like something else? But but it got struck, so I don't think it's going to happen. So that's all over at this Kherson Front. We move into the Zaporizhzhia Front. So this is Zaporizhzhia City, and this is Zaporizhzhia Front. At the Zaporizhzhia Front, we have fighting being reported towards Novokalynove, but it could be just bombardments. It may not be an assault. And fighting reported at Robotine, which over here. So the front line did not change. So I don't think there is a real assault. I think this is just fire attacks. They just see the Ukrainians keep coming. They just keep shooting them. I think it's something like this. So that's all from this, from the Orikhiv sector. This Orikhiv. And there is a geolocation of a helicopter guided missile strike over at Melanivka. So this helicopter magnet continues to attract guided missiles. And that's all from the Zaporizhzhia Front. We move into the Donetsk Front. So This is the Donetsk Front. We split this into the Velika-Novosilka sector, the Voleda sector, as well as the Marinka sector. So these are the three sectors, and the Russian forces are still continuing their offensive in this area here, with fighting reported at Staromailske, Uruzhaine. This time round we have something new, fighting towards Prashyslivka. Battle of Novomikhailivka continues. This time out, this one is fighting towards Paraskovievka, but it's just next to Novomikhailivka. There is shelling reported over at these two locations, Konstantinivka, as well as this is called Katerinivka. So, and then there is fighting reported at Georgievka as well as Krasnohorivka. This one is, what is this one? Oh, this is Maximilianivka. So that is probably more like shelling rather than assault. So this is the current strategic situation over at this Donetsk front. As we zoom in, we'll probably see a bit more things. There is an airstrike being geolocated within Uruzhaine, and as the Russians continue their assault at Uruzhaine itself, fighting reported towards Staromailske. There is no news. We do not know what's happening over there. There is geolocation just off Velika-Novosilka. A Lancet hit the M777 artillery system over at this location. Prashyslivka is interesting. We do not know why the Russians started to attack this area here. The last attack was in March, 5th of March, which is my birthday. So after that, they celebrated my birthday and decided not to fight at this location anymore. So I think now they're hungry again. I fed them too much. So anyway, I fed them too much. Sounds right and wrong at the same time. Fighting reported at Paraskovievka, and we do not know if this is is going to be very significant or not. Shelling reported over at these two locations, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. We will continue to monitor and see how this progress. Nothing at Boyeda. Over at Georgievka region, we have fighting reported at Georgievka, and Maximilianivka has been mentioned, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. Although this could be fire attack, I'm not sure if this is an assault, because there is a possibility that the Russian forces actually have already captured this area here and it's not reported, and then they have started to attack into Maximilianivka. But we do not know because there is just no updates regarding these things around this area here, as the attention is all over at the Avdiivka Front. We move into the Krasnohorivka. But Battle of Krasnohorivka continues to be reported, with fighting reported at Krasnohorivka, according to the Ryba, the pro-Russian source. As this geolocation, as mentioned just now, the Russian forces are starting to push into the eastern sector, the eastern part of Krasnohorivka. And if the Russians are successful in pushing through this area here, the entire heavy defense line around here will collapse. The Ukrainian forces will start to run away, and then you will start to see the Russians just take over coming from the east, and this entire front will collapse. And if this front collapses, oh my god, there's nothing behind. Like there's literally no defense line behind until you reach around this area here, which is actually protecting the southern flank of Bakhmut. So if the Russians break through here, we will probably see the Russians continue to push to quite a bit of the extent, and then they can actually hit the rear positions of this entire defense line. There is actually supposed to be the second line of defense. This is a third line, but the Russians can just go around it, just like this one over at the Avdiivka Front. They can basically just go to the rear, and the entire defense line become pointless. So anyway, that's it for the Krasnohorivka region. We move into the Avdiivka Front. I need to cough. I coughed. So okay, so no CG. And there is fighting reported at the Avdiivka Front as the Russians continue their offensive. And this time around, there's a few very weird reports I'm going to go through with you. But first, I want to draw the Ukrainian one first, because I scared I'll get confused. Ukrainian forces counter-attack at Ocheretine. They are also counter-attacking at NOVOKALYNOVE, at BERDYCHI, at Semenivka, as well as Netelove. Russian forces attack at Umanske, Semenivka, over at Ocheretine, and NOVOKALYNOVE, KERAMIK. And then there is reports of fighting at Arkhangelsk, Kalinove, as well as Novo Alexandrivka. So this these two is a bit weird. We'll cover that later because it's just weird, you know. So anyway, we start off from the southern part. Over at this southern part of the Avdiivka Front, there is geolocation of Russian forces over at the very end of Performance-K, getting hit by FPV drone. Russian forces geolocated around here, which means that they expanded their control in the direction towards Krasnohorivka, and the Russians are also attacking Umansky at this moment, and looks like we're going to see a collapse of this front line eventually with this continued movement. Ukrainian forces counterattack over at the Netelove region as they try to defend and stop the Russians from pushing through. Russian forces bombarded KYSLIVKA, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. So, and then there is geolocation of this is a FPV drone attack further up north. This was a counter artillery action over in the north of Krasnohorivka, just off Skushny. So this is the strategic situation around this area here. I think this line is, yeah, it's not going to survive very long, because if you zoom in, you can see that the Russians captured most of these entrenchments around here that were supposed to defend this area here. With this capture, there is not a lot of defense line in this area towards Krasnohorivka. So that's what it is. But no, there's still more. So don't worry. No, there's still a lot of action to come. And over at the central part, we have Semenivka. The big news is the capture of Semenivka. Deep State UA and Ryba both reported the capture of Semenivka. So this double confirms. And both actually drew mappings a little bit similar, with the Russian forces securing this area here. According to Russian mapping, they secured even the tree line outside of Semenivka, with the Russian forces expanding their control. And so this means that BERDYCHI is going to collapse very, very soon, because with the Russian conquest of Semenivka, which is geolocated around here with someone waving the red banner, we will see Russian forces starting to storm towards the northern part of Semenivka into BERDYCHI, and they were likely to capture the rest of BERDYCHI very, very soon. Ukrainian forces, knowing this, are trying to counterattack at BERDYCHI, and yeah, but I think this is not going to work very more, because if you zoom out a bit, the Russians are coming from the north as well, from Novobakhmutivka, and they will likely to continue to push south, and this will make the Ukrainian positions unholdable, so they will have to redraw towards Novoporovsky. So this is likely to happen, as the Ukrainians have proven to be unable to hold this hold a position when the attack is coming from the north, as they already collapsed twice from Novobakhmutivka to the south of Novobakhmutivka. So we will see the collapse of this area here very, very soon. And since we are at Novobakhmutivka, we have confirmation or corroboration from the Ukrainian side of the capture of Svatove by the Russian forces. So previously we have reported this based on the information coming from the Russian sources. Now we have confirmation from the Ukrainian side, so this is confirmed. So then the Deep State UA also geolocated Russian forces within Svatove, and another one in the south. Both of these geolocation is due to FPV drone attacks, as the Ukrainian forces sent in their FPV drone to bombard Russian forces. But FPV drones and generally drones in general seems to be the go-to weapon right now for the Ukrainians, as they are lacking artillery shells. Many of their artillery also getting destroyed by lancers, and then they have redrew their tanks. So, and they're not sure about the Bradleys, if they still have any more Bradleys in the area. Bradleys thus far has been a pretty effective defensive weapons, but many of them has been destroyed. So not sure. Ocheretine, there's no more developments over the past 24 hours at this moment. This entire push towards Arkhangelsk, we're also not sure what's happening. But we do have information from both Russian and Ukrainian Defense Ministry confirming fighting over at Arkhangelsk. I know some of you guys tell me to pronounce this as Arkhangelsk. Arkhangelsk is Russian. I know Ukrainians also say Arkhangelsk, but they spell H, so I'm going to say H. No, I don't like them anyhow change the spelling, so I'm going to pronounce it in a weird way until they change the spelling. So anyway, so Arkhangelsk, and so Russian forces are also trying to push out from this area of Ocheretine. They still have not full capture Ocheretine just yet. There is no confirmation or reports of full capture. Ukrainian forces are counter-attacking according to the Russian Defense Ministry, so they are trying to push back the Russians, which is the right decision to do, because the collapse of Ocheretine will be disastrous for the strategic picture, as I have reported in the analysis. So if you have not watched the analysis, you need to go and watch the analysis video. Again, I will link it in the link below at the end of this video. So, and then we have a bit of weird reports coming from the the Russian Defense Ministry. They mentioned KYSLIVKA and NOVOKALYNOVE, and it's unclear if this is an attack or this is just shelling, as these two are a bit away from the front line. So if the fighting is currently over at Arkhangelsk, they can't possibly hit Kalinove. So or Novokhalynove. So it could be a case where these are just shelling. They are conducting airstrikes right now to soften the Ukrainians in this area here. Particularly Kalinove is a bit heavy in terms of the entrenchments. So actually both sides are quite heavy, but Novokhalynove have a lot more. You can see all these entrenchments are all around here. Particularly this one is pre-war. This particular one is pre-war. So, and then you have all these defense lines. So maybe the Russians are just preparing the ground, soften up the Ukrainian defenses as the Russians are trying to blitz through this area here. We are still not sure which direction that they will go. Oh, it's a heart shape. No, this is my love to you, to my viewers. Anyway, so I'm not sure which direction that they will actually go. Tentatively, we will continue to monitor, but tentatively, it seems like they are fighting towards Arkhangelsk. And the situation at KERAMIK and NOVOKALYNOVE is progressing as I have predicted or reported or analyzed, as the Russians are indeed flanking into KERAMIK, and currently the entire eastern flank seems to have fallen as well, according to Russian mapping. Ukrainian mapping only mentioned the KERAMIK region, but the Russian mapping included this eastern part of NOVOKALYNOVE. And with this sudden fall of half of NOVOKALYNOVE and a penetration into KERAMIK itself, it looks like the Ukrainian forces may have do a speedy withdrawal from this position. And so this could be what have happened. And I think the Ukrainian forces over at this heavy entrenchment is going to have very, very difficult decision to make. Because if Ukrainian forces are getting besieged over at Arkhangelsk, Ukrainian forces are running away from KERAMIK and NOVOKALYNOVE, are you supposed to still stay here? Don't you feel a bit scary to stay at that position? I'm not sure. So, and so we will continue to monitor as the Russian forces continue to put pressure on the Ukrainians. And as mentioned before, this is a pincer and this is an encirclement. So the Ukrainian forces will have to make some tough decisions very, 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 very soon. So we move into the Niu-York Front. At the Niu-York Front, we have Ukrainians attacking over at the Sumy region, Russian forces attacking towards New York or Novgorodskoye, whatever lah, just call New York. Okay, New York. Okay, so that's all from this area here. We move into the Bakhmut Front. Over at the Bakhmut Front, we have fighting reported at Klishchiivka. There is Stupochki is mentioned. I'm not sure if the Russians are actually this near. Fighting is reported at Ivanivsky towards Chasivya at Novi as well. So everything is Russian. There is no Ukrainian counterattacks being reported. So we will continue to monitor the situation. Sorry, I burped. The situation around this area here. And I also noticed, based on the mapping of the entrenchments, there seems to be some gaps around this area here, which might suggest that Russians can just penetrate through, and bypassing all these entrenchments. But yeah, but what do I know? No, maybe they have dug up new trenches. Anyway, that's all from this area here. We move on. Did I miss anything? We move into the Siversk Front. over at the Siversk Front, this is Siversk. At the Siversk Front, Russian forces attacking over at Balakliya in the Luhansk region, Sperne, as well as towards Vimka. So this Siversk offensive continues, but it also continues to be underreported. No one is putting footages or telling the stories from this area here. It could be the case where the commanders at this front line is super disciplined and super strict about information, operational secrecy and operational discipline. So we'll continue to wait and see if we have any more additional information coming from this front line. We move into the Kreminna Front. So this is Kreminna City or Kreminna City and Liman or Krasny Liman or Crispy Lemon. And the Russian forces continue their attack in the Zaporizhzhia Forestry region. They are fighting towards Terny. Ukrainian forces clash with them over Terny. And we have fighting reported south of Zaporizhzhia. I'm not sure how the hell there is fighting in the south of Zaporizhzhia, but it is true. It's reported by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, the hallmark of truth and accurate reports. So everything they say is true. So definitely the fighting reported in the south of Zaporizhzhia have to be true. And this is very unusual because there is no indication that the Russians have taken Torsky. And previously we just have reports about fighting at Dibrova. Can't possible that the Russians actually advanced so quickly, right? So I have no idea how this happened, of fighting reported south of Zaporizhzhia. We will definitely continue to monitor and see how does this happen. And so yeah, we will just wait and see how this progress. This is a verified information, both the evening and morning report from the Ukrainian Defense Ministry both reported the word south of Zaporizhzhia. So yeah. Anyway, moving on, over at the Svatove Front, there's a lot of things over here as well. The Svatove area here is also getting really hot. There is two sectors. One is over at the Berestove, Stemakivka region in the northern part, and then we have another one in the southern part over Druzhelyubivka as well as Gregivka or Kharkivka. So there's these two parts. And yeah, so in the two-pronged attack, and these two attacks also do make sense, because if you look at the entrenchment mapping, this looks more sparse. It looks like you should actually penetrate here, and here is also there's lesser, so you should also penetrate here. And with a pincer from the north and the south of Dibrova, you totally avoided this entire heavy entrenchments in this area here, which is smart if they are able to do it. Of course, this arrow may take 1 year to achieve. Who knows? So we will continue to monitor, but the situation in this area is very weird because Druzhelyubivka is a bit far. I'm not sure if the Russians actually have captured more grounds in this area here. There is no indication they have did. And then the fighting is reported at Gregivka as well, without any information about expansion from Novovolodyan. So we shall continue to monitor. I think this is just very interesting. Oh, there's some food here. Rabania Mohana. I am Mohana. Okay, anyway, we move into Kupyansk. At the Kupyansk Front, there is fighting reported at KYSLIVKA. And this, of course, just north of the Berestove report. And KYSLIVKA is a breakthrough, a major development around at KYSLIVKA. As you can see, the Russian forces have captured the entire eastern part and the central part. In a way, this is actually the center of the town of KYSLIVKA, leaving just half of the settlement. In fact, this is the more sparse area here of KYSLIVKA, and the south of this area is Kotlyarivka. So Russian forces break through, according to the Deep State UA, which is the reports of this information. Anyway, Ukrainian Defense Ministry also did mention about fighting at KYSLIVKA. They said that the Russian forces broke through and gain a foothold in the settlement. The territorial defense without heavy weapons are losing the fight around this area here, and the Russians are likely to conquer the rest of KYSLIVKA within the next 48 hours. And this is also quite bad in the sense that if the Russians are able to quickly push out, we will see a pincer developing, because I believe the Russians will just push another direction from the south, forcing a rapid withdrawal, a chaotic withdrawal of the Ukrainian forces. And yeah, it's going to be very, very ugly. And there is no clear signs of any good defensive position in the rear of this position. The next line of defense is over at NOVOKALYNOVE, and there's another one around here just off Avdiivka. So the Russian forces can basically do a massive push to straighten the line along these defensive lines, and they will be able to also possibly go down the road and put pressure over at Kurylivka, and put pressure at Podoli, and collapse this entire front line that the Ukrainian forces have been holding for a long time. So we're not sure. We will see how this progress. My personal information from the ground says that there is very little defenses in behind the front line. So at the Kupyansk Front. So we'll wait and see how this develops over at the Kupyansk Front. But yeah, fall of KYSLIVKA came out of nowhere, you know. So the fact that even the Ukrainian sources say that there is lack of heavy weaponry just shows how effective this strategy is. By ignoring the Kupyansk Front for extended period of time, the Ukrainians start to move heavy weapons to the front lines that requires it more, and leaving the Kupyansk Front, which is quiet, bare. And then suddenly the Russian bear comes to attack the bear front. Because it is bare, so the bear can actually bear claw the bear front to make it bare of Ukrainian troops. So we move on to the Kharkiv region, and there is a strike. Shelling at Borove, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. This is a bit far away. I was looking for this Borove somewhere around this area, but I can't find it. So this is the only Borove or the Borovoye I can find. So yeah, I have nothing to say about it because I do not know what is it. So that's it. Press the like button, smash it with your fab on it. Make it feel good, and I'll please share the report. It's important to share the report because we are battling against two very big channels that is doing very well, Whip Union and Military Summary, and there's no way DPA can grow or do very well in terms of viewership, because now the YouTube algorithm simply put a lot more emphasis on pushing bigger channels. So it doesn't matter how good is the video, unless I put porn or soft porn. I don't think that I will ever, then we'll have like 100% or 120% viewership. But yeah, there's no way I can get any viewership that is more sustainable. So do share. That's the best we can do. Press the like button. I think that might help. I have no idea. And yeah, that's about it. So this is the summary for the day of 793 for the 26th of April. Where did I find 769? What the hell? So yeah, and check out the DPA Telegram channel if you don't want to miss anything from DPA. Okay, and you can also follow me on Twitter, because I'm very active over Twitter. I'm very noisy over there, and I always pick a fight with other people. No, actually, it's other people pick a fight with me, and I start fighting with them. And also, yeah, DPA open mic. Maybe later today. If I burn out, it could be tomorrow, but we shall see how it goes. And hopefully it will be later today. Depending on when you watch, it could be happening right now as you're watching. And I'll see you guys in the next update.